It is a comedy of errors in operatic proportions. It is one of the funniest operas you will ever see, and it is on stage right now at the Windsor Opera House. It's called The Barber of Seville, and we have one of the stars, Mr. Alek Shrader, here to tell us all about it. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Glad to have you here. Okay, so talk to me as like I'm an opera newbie. I'm not well versed in opera. They say this is probably the show for me to see.
Absolutely. This is the perfect starter opera. This will get you in the door and you'll keep going back. This is the famous Figaro, Figaro, Figaro. That's this opera, okay? So Bugs Bunny did his version of it.
Sure.
And the other good thing is that all of the tunes are toe tappers. So throughout the entire evening, about 3 hours long, you'll be tapping your toe. You can look around and everyone in the aisles are going to be tapping their toes along with the music.
So there's none of that like struggling to keep track of the storyline and struggling to keep track of...
No, it's a very straightforward storyline. It's a young tenor who's very rich. He's a count. He's fallen in love with a young woman who is being sort of kept by her old lecherous tutor. However, he has designs on marrying her. And so to win her affection, the tenor decides he needs to go into these various disguises to make sure that she's in love with him for his personality and not his money. First, he dresses up as a
It sounds like a good premise for a reality show. Anyway, go ahead.
It would be a great reality show. It absolutely would be. So he's a young, poor student at first, a young lover. Then he's a drunken soldier. Then he is a sort of comedic music teacher. And then finally, at the end, he reveals he's the count, and he wins her affection, and they all...
Yeah, happily ever after. Now, let's talk about you for a moment and your training, and how long have you been an opera singer?
Professionally, I've been singing since 2006, and I did about 7.5 years of training at the college level.
It's pretty intense training too, isn't it? It's
intense and it's difficult, and it takes a real dedication. I feel like the longer you do it, actually the more dedicated you need to be. And
it's different than just singing. It's much different than just regular singing. And the training is different. Can you explain that?
Sure. Well, you know, opera singers, we don't use microphones for the most part. Some modern compositions require that effect, but classical opera has no amplification. And so we learn about using our breath to project our voices. We learn about, you know, moving it in fast melismas, fast up and down, blah, 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 you know, coloratura. And that's just part of the of learning how to use your instrument, because we are, you know, we have an instrument, it just happens to be in our neck.
And learning how to be loud. Well, in your neck and in your diaphragm and all of it is
See, you know a little
I'm learning.
something.
I feel like I'm learning so much. No, I think it's fascinating though. So you said you've only been singing professionally for the last, you know, handful of years.
Yeah.
So as a child, did you sing as a child?
I did. Both of my parents are former opera singers, so I grew up with it.
Okay.
I fought
so you
hard.
had an ear for it, maybe as a child.
Yeah, it was just around me constantly. I did fight hard to not do it. I rebelled.
Did you go through like a rock star phase?
That's exactly what I did. I started my rock band because music came sort of instinctively to me, but I definitely didn't want to do opera just because I wanted to do my own thing.
Yeah.
You know, eventually I couldn't fight it. It's in my genes, and so I went down the operatic road, but music was always around me as a kid.
That's so interesting. And your parents, I'm sure, they were probably happy to foster that once you like said uncle and said, okay,
they are my biggest fans, without a doubt. You know, they love it.
So how was it when you got your first role? So you studied this in college, and you knew at that point that you wanted to follow a professional path with this. And what was your first?
Well, there's a company called Opera Theater St. Louis, and I had worked as a young artist and apprentice there for the last 2 summers, kind of like a summer job. And I was auditioning for them again, just to go back and do my typical summer routine. And instead of offering me an apprenticeship, they offered me a leading role, which happens to be the role that I'm performing here in Dallas.
Oh, wow.
Funny, right?
Yeah.
So I was astonished. I was flattered and completely breathless. And of course, you know, I accepted it. It was a major sort of step in my career, but at that point I was too young to really know how important it was. I was just happy to get the opportunity.
Yeah, well, so you know the role, and you're emotionally connected to the role because
Definitely.
obviously it had a big part in your career. So first time in Dallas?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then where's the show going after this? Are you?
Well, you know, this production, I'm not sure where it goes next.
Where do you go next?
I go to Los Angeles. I'm going to sing with the Philharmonic.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here. You know, opera scares me because
Don't be scared.
Really, because I feel like I don't want to do something that is so interesting and not like it. You know, so I think this is a great thing for me to go see.
I promise you will like it.
Okay.
I guarantee it.
All right. Alrighty, well, there are still chances to see the Barber of Seville on stage at the Winspur Opera House. There's a performance Friday night and another one on Sunday afternoon. And there is also a free simulcast at AT&T Stadium in Arlington for Friday's performance. That would be cool to see. Yeah, did I mention it's free, by the way? For more details, head over to thebroadcasttv.com. Click on today's links.